or the level of constitutional progress of these different nations? Now Tanzania appears to have gone back to more or less a one-party state. Do you think this hope that we are going to be at the same level and discussing the same things, political or otherwise, is it still possible?
Mirage? Maybe worse than a mirage.
It won't happen.
How do I say that? You see, the forces behind the East African integration are so paradoxical in their intent. And what do I mean? In the one breath, they want you to be integrated. And so they push and have all these seminars. They have all these civil society who tell you that, oh, you know, you need to have an integrated African Union. And the African Union is a shell. ECOWAS, like you pointed out, is zero. This is what Ibrahim Traore Kim woke up to and say that, look, you cannot be telling me about ECOWAS and our resources are being stolen by France. Actually, we are propping the financial structures of France, and they're coming to enslave us. So he said that, look, we will take the matters into our own hands, and we all know what has happened to his country. It is on the trajectory of progression, and I applaud him. Now, coming back to Tanzania, I see the fracturing of whatever that was building up in terms of East African Union. What do I mean? The concept of sovereignty is not only entrenched in our own constitution. Remember, Article 210, the 2010 Constitution has brought about Kenyan sovereignty as an integral aspect to be protected and shielded. Now, you try to reconcile that with the this African Union bloc, the East African Union bloc, and you know, the fragmentation still will remain. So Tanzania is asserting its sovereignty, and I see nothing wrong with that. And more importantly, and I'll repeat this at the risk of sounding like a clanging cymbal, Tanzania is endowed with resources. And because of that, you need a president who is firm enough to tell they who are eyeing the resources that you cannot do it the way you want to do it. Let's remember, because someone is asking, oh, why shut the internet? The days of anybody using military, guns and stuff to invade a nation, those are gone. They are long gone. They are invading nations, peoples, through syringes. People wearing white robes, pretending to be doctors and telling you to be vaccinated. Today, our hospitals are, tearing up at the seams with the volumes of people who are injected with the COVID-19 vaccine and they are dying. So in Tanzania, the shutting down of the internet is, in my view, to control the same foreign forces who use the internet. Let's not forget what happened to Egypt, a so-called Spring Revolution. And that was orchestrated from wherever it did. And that actually was an instrument in Libya. Now, coming back to the Tanzanian incident, the scenario, what should the Kenyans actually view Tanzania as? Tanzania has, in my view, a history which so many people are closing their eyes to in order to contextualize what is happening in Tanzania. Way back before I was born, in 1964, the late Nyerere is faced with a mutiny. A fellow called Oscar Kambona. Oscar Kambona is funded, propped up, and backed by the British forces. And then Nyerere gets wind of it. You don't have lessons in history taught to our people about Oscar Kambona. Oscar Kambona wanted to overthrow Tanzania because Nyerere was saying we have to have a united Tanzania. The Jumuiya was supposed to be Zanzibar and Tanzania mainland. And now you have people who feel that Suluhu has not lived to that expectation. But Suluhu took over from the deceased Magufuli. That whole context is being lost. And what does the foreigner do who's eyeing the minerals, where Suluhu has refused to undo the contracts? That Magufuli went back to the drawing board and said that, look, we have to renegotiate these to the advantage of our own people. And he said, you cannot come to mine gold, and you're getting all the soil out, and you have cobalt in the soil that you've taken to wherever you're taking. You have to give us what is due to us. And that is what is paining them. They want to remove the soil. That soil contains cobalt, uranium, gold, diamonds, copper. When their mining contract says that it is just gold. So Magufuli says that if you're mining gold, let's get your gold. And that has increased the value and the volume of, the earnings of Tanzania. So Suluhu has a big problem because you have a large people who are attacking her without the context of the history of Tanzania in mind. And we need to contextualize that. We need to actually help her, which is why I say Kenya should view Tanzania more as a neighbor to afford them an opportunity even for economic expansion, trade, and good neighborliness. But the moment you have this belligerence in seeing Tanzania, oh, you are a failed democracy. How about you? You have a log in your eye.
All right. Final word on this one about the integration and how
can I first say this? Kenyans cannot view Tanzania in that light